The Sword of Pier Gerlofs Donia. This is the sword of Pier Gerlofs Donia, a sword built for a giant, and perhaps the largest sword ever wielded in battle. The sword belonged to Pier Gerlofs Donia, a rebel and pirate from Frisia in the northern Netherlands, whose exploits and incredible size made him a legend. Pier was so large that he became known by his nickname, Grutte Pier, or Great Peter. Born around 1480, Pier is described as standing around 7 feet tall, possessing such immense strength that he reportedly could bend a coin with just his thumb and forefinger. Some tales even claim he once lifted an entire plow with a single hand. At the age of 18, Pier witnessed Frisia's transition into a free nation following a prolonged civil war between the Schieringers and the Vetkopers. Although the Schieringers had officially won, the Vetkopers continued to resist, leveraging international connections for support. While skirmishes periodically flared up in distant regions, Pier managed to marry and lead a contented life as a prosperous farmer. This idyllic existence lasted until 1515, when at the age of 35, Pier's life was irrevocably shattered as the Black Band, a group of Saxon raiders employed by the Vetkopers, ravaged his hometown, brutally killing his wife and torching his farm. Rising from the ashes of his former life, Pier embarked on a path of cataclysmic vengeance, marking the beginning of his legendary exploits as the leader of a pirate army targeting Saxon occupiers and transforming him into a figure of mythic retribution. Pier quickly became known for wielding a two-handed sword as long as he was tall and weighing almost 16 pounds. The sword is believed to have been crafted in Germany and may have been seized from a Saxon foe. For comparison, the typical 16th century Zweihander sword, the largest standard two-handed sword of the day, measured around 4.5 feet long and weighed just 4 pounds. Despite the myriad legends surrounding him and his mighty sword, Grutte Pier eventually recognized the futility of his struggle, retired from his life of rebellion, and passed away shortly thereafter. Skeptics have questioned the authenticity of the sword currently housed in the Fries Museum, suggesting it might be a ceremonial bearing sword from the 1400s, too unwieldy for practical use. Nonetheless, new research by the museum supports the notion that Grutte Pier indeed wielded this epic weapon in combat, adding a layer of historical credibility to the legendary narratives surrounding this imposing figure. Hellburners. Though the term weapons of mass destruction is commonly associated with the modern era, the origins of such devastating armaments trace back centuries. One notable and early instance is the fall of Antwerp in 1585 during the 80 Years' War, a conflict in the bitter struggle for independence in the Netherlands against Spanish rule. It was during this pivotal siege that the world witnessed the debut of the Hellburners, an early form of weapon of mass destruction that heralded a new era in explosive military engineering. The brainchild of Italian engineer Federico Giambelli, the Hellburners were essentially advanced floating bombs commissioned in a covert operation with support from Queen Elizabeth I of England. The Hellburners were designed to break Alexander Farnese's blockade of the city. Farnese, the Spanish governor of the Netherlands, had ordered the construction of a bridge across the Scheldt River. This effectively cut off the city's access to the sea, severely limiting its ability to receive supplies and reinforcements. The Bridge of Farnese was not a bridge in the conventional sense, but rather consisted of a series of ships anchored in the river, connected by a wooden roadway and supported by a barricade of piles driven into the riverbed. Giambelli's response was a masterclass in engineering. 2 vessels were outfitted with a large brick fire chamber filled with over 3 tons of high-quality gunpowder and shrapnel, and aimed to direct a devastating explosion towards the enemy. The ship Fortune featured a slow-burning fuse, while the ship Hoop used a first-of-its-kind clockwork and flintlock fuse mechanism built by a master Antwerp watchmaker. The Hellburners were set loose on April 4, 1585, under the cover of darkness, following a fleet of 32 regular fire ships as decoys. This strategic maneuver ensured the Hellburners' penetration of the Spanish Habsburg defenses. While the Fortune ran aground and detonated only partially, the Hoop achieved its destructive objective, tearing through the enemy's bridge with a blast heard 80 kilometers away, killing over 800 Spanish soldiers and causing significant damage to the besieging forces. Despite the Hellburners' momentary tactical success and the awe they inspired, the Spanish quickly repaired the damaged bridge, and Antwerp ultimately succumbed to the siege. This event, while a setback for the defenders, marked a notable point in military history, paving the way for the development of even more destructive technologies that continue to shape modern warfare. taker of cities. In 305 BC, Demetrius I of Macedon laid siege to the island nation of Rhodes, aiming to sever its alliance with his rival, Ptolemy I. During this siege, one weapon in particular struck fear into the hearts of the defenders. The largest siege tower ever built, the helepolis, stood 130 feet high and 65 feet wide. It was constructed on an 8-wheel platform, with each wheel 15 feet in diameter. The 160-ton tower required 3,400 troops to manually push it into battle, working in coordinated relays. While not the first of its kind, the helepolis was undoubtedly the most impressive. Clad in iron plating and fireproofed, the tower featured 2 large flights of stairs that enabled an unprecedented number of soldiers to navigate its multiple floors and access or scale defensive walls. Known as the Taker of Cities, the helepolis was armed with a total of 16 catapults, capable of firing a range of munitions weighing from 30 to 180 pounds, with a secondary armament of 4 dart throwers and a mechanically operated drawbridge for dispatching troops behind enemy defenses. Demetrius' attack aimed to secure a crucial maritime base, control trade routes, and affirm Macedonian supremacy. The siege, showcasing Macedonia's military capabilities, also intended to serve as a demonstration of power to intimidate other states. Despite its formidable design, the helepolis met an unlikely defeat. The Rhodians undermined its advance by flooding the land before the city, creating a bog that rendered the tower immovable. This strategy forced Demetrius to abandon the siege, leaving behind his mighty weapon as a trophy of war. According to another account, the helepolis was withdrawn and ultimately abandoned after Rhodian defenders dislodged its protective armor. The aftermath saw the Rhodians sell the helepolis for scrap, with legend suggesting the proceeds funded the construction of the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Some accounts also claim that the iron plating from the siege tower was melted and used to build the statue, with wood from the tower used for its scaffolding. Although not a success in itself, the helepolis illustrated the possibilities of advanced siege warfare, inspiring many generations of subsequent siege towers, including those equipped with battering rams and spear throwers. Demetrius would use a similar, though smaller machine in 292 BC to capture the city of Thebes. The warwolf. In medieval warfare, few engines of destruction have struck fear into the hearts of defenders quite like the warwolf, believed to be the largest trebuchet ever built. King Edward I of England commissioned this behemoth of battle during the siege of Stirling Castle in Scotland in 1304. Edward I, known as Longshanks for his imposing stature, wanted a siege engine so formidable that the Scots would fall to their knees at the mere sight of it. When completed, the warwolf, or Lupus Gare, may have stood at a height of 300 to 400 feet tall with its arm extended, and was capable of hurling massive 300-pound stones at 120 miles per hour across a great distance. Designed and built by 5 master carpenters and almost 50 laborers over a period of 3 months, the warwolf was believed to be capable of destroying any castle. 30 wagons transported the weapon before being assembled over the course of 3 months outside Stirling Castle, which was at the time the last stronghold of the Scottish resistance. For 4 months, the English bombarded the castle using 11 smaller siege engines while waiting for the construction of the warwolf to be completed. According to some sources, the warwolf was so complex and time-consuming to assemble that the defending forces surrendered before it was actually fired. Yet King Edward, eager to witness the power of his colossal investment, insisted on testing the weapon, refusing to let anyone enter or exit the castle before the warwolf had hurled a stone. A Latin chronicle from the era described the warwolf's single attack, saying that it fired a single stone through the castle's walls, quote, like an arrow flying through cloth. The basilic cannon. Constantinople once stood as a center of civilization, renowned for its fortitude and highly effective, apparently impenetrable defenses. When Constantine XI, its ruler, was approached by an engineer named Orban, who proposed constructing a huge caliber cannon, he turned down the offer, believing his empire to be well protected by its infamous Theodosian walls. Constantine's rival, Mehmed II, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, was next to be approached by Orban, and the basilic cannon was at last commissioned. With all of the necessary funds and materials at his disposal, Orban set to work forging the colossal beast. Designed as the centerpiece of a siege, to be supported by a number of smaller cannons, the completed basilic cannon measured 27 feet in length, with a 30-inch diameter and an estimated weight of up to 20 tons. It was intricately decorated with Ottoman designs. It was a sight to behold, capable of projecting stone and iron cannonballs over a distance of 1.5 miles. Each ball would have weighed approximately 1,500 pounds, enough to cause monumental damage to the defenses of any stronghold. The basilic was dragged to Constantinople by 60 oxen and 400 men, and a multi-pronged attack was launched, with a fleet of 110 vessels attacking from the sea and numerous cannons firing from a safe distance on land. The basilic fired 2 shots on April 24, 1453, destroying Constantinople's inner wall and opening up a gap through which Ottoman troops could move. Over subsequent days, it gradually took the city to pieces, imposing a psychological demoralization on the defenders with its ever-looming threat and deafening sounds. After 6 weeks of firing, the basilic cannon was spent, but the siege was a success, and Mehmed II became known as Mehmed the Conqueror. The basilic cannon remains one of the most significant weapons ever made, both for its central role in the fall of Constantinople and because it's still the largest caliber cannon ever to be successfully used in battle. Are you ready to unlock the secrets of the past? Subscribe now to Dark 5's Ancient Mysteries channel and embark on a journey to uncover the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring mysteries of ancient times. Leave a comment if there are any ancient mysteries you want us to explore in upcoming videos.